All right, so what I have behind me is a car that's probably, once you see it, you might know it. Um, it had some publication, I don't know, was seen in pictures, was on Facebook a bunch, and a couple pictures, maybe some other videos. That owner, I guess the motor ended up going bad and they ended up selling the car. So somebody else purchased the vehicle, and it was purchased with a bad engine, and they had found a engine at a junkyard, which turned out to be a really nice engine. They got a really good deal on it. It had some engine work done to it and a turbo on it and some other things. So what I was told is they had someone install it. They know me because of doing srt4 stuff. I didn't see this car except for, like, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times, not here. And obviously I knew the previous owner because of the srt4 stuff. Now, current owner had supposedly had somebody put an engine in. Some stuff was done wrong. I have yet to just kind of confirm some of the things. I don't point fingers. I don't know who did the stuff. I just want to show you what was done incorrectly so that you know not to do it. And this car has a lot of things that were done incorrectly, and it's just a shame. So let's get started. Like I said, I was asked to do a timing belt, and that is kind of where this started. So here we go. Let's look at this thing. All right, so we know it needs a timing belt. Initially, I have this thing up on the lift, and I can look at this, and it looks like my passenger side of this engine is really high for some reason. I don't know why yet, but it is. Hopefully you can see in the camera compared to the cowl, compared to the engine. I've never seen one where the passenger side or the driver's side of the engine trans side was higher. Okay, so now I'm over here. Let's check this out. So we're over here. We're checking this out. I did pull this engine mount. First off, this bracket right here was not spun around. So when you do this, it causes damage to this bushing. It just ruins the life of this. Most of the time you turn this plate around so you have this smooth side out. Some people grind them off, to each their own. Now, if you take a look, I don't know if light helps, you can see we have quite a well destroyed timing belt. By the looks of this, it actually walked off, and it walked off toward the outside. Okay. Also, when I look down through here, this has a solid center mount. The plate that's on the motor does not have the tabs ground off of it, so it is damaging the engine mount. So I don't know if that mount was put in when this engine was put in, or if the other engine had the mount already where they were ground off. I don't know who did that install. All right. Also, the I'm assuming SDK mount set, 4-mount set, comes with the Allen head that goes in here, not this straight bolt. And when you run that straight bolt, that bolt ends up being too long, and I believe it actually pushed against the tensioner and made this belt walk out. Hoping to pull everything off down here, the dampener and everything, and see inside there, because I'll be able to look up and see that. Now, along with that, like I said, you notice that the engine is sitting higher. So I come over here, I see no let's see which one's looking better here on the camera. I see no nut here, and then I look down in and I see no bolts holding this bracket in, and then I look back in here, and it looks like someone has trimmed this bracket here to go out around the transmission mount. Definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. It's that high that back here that the ABS unit is pretty much, the trans is touching the bottom of the ABS unit right there. Back in behind. You should be able to get your finger through there. Also, you know, you're standing here, you're looking down in, and we see down there, the one line, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, the one line down in there that's against the pipe on the top is for the emissions control, all right? That rubber line is touching that wastegate pipe. Eventually going to melt that. That's wrong. And then down below that is the overflow hose. That's the incorrect overflow for a big turbo. And it runs up across, and somebody has it running into the thermostat housing, which is right, but we have the wrong bolts holding that down in. Okay. So that's just kind of, you know, generalizational here on this side. There's no heat shield on our alternator, which it is what it is. Okay. So then we come up here. The rubber is incorrect on these mounts here. I also noticed someone tried to do an epoxy repair right here on the radiator when the fans were in. There is also, goodness, this light. Well, this tray had one bolt in it, so it was missing the nuts. These bolts were missing. This was kind of just in here. What was here was actually an intake bolt. They had this there, so that's an intake bolt that they had there. Now this is bent, and it's not even, it's got one bolt holding the computer into the bracket, and there's nothing in the bottom. This pipe here, this is all silicone together. There was no vacuum line run here. You have a big turbo like this, and you do this install, you need to have an external blow-off valve so that you can release the turbo pressure on this side, or it's going to keep force feeding the engine to run. So we have that. This vacuum line here is supposed to be routed in underneath to the vacuum port down here. It looks like they ran, this is actually supposed to be going down through here on this side, okay, and then out across and over to here. They might have this vacuum run down to underneath here, because there's like a hose here, and then it's like wrapped around down underneath here. So I mean, technically you could try to fight that out underneath. This hose doesn't fit down in here too well. It should be turned, which is something I'm going to have to fix. This thing was that high up against, they actually got damage to the heat shield here. It's missing a bolt out of the turbo housing right there. You know, and this is just, we're just topside right here now. So we do have a bunch of extra wires that go to, I don't know, all kinds of different things. The normal, I mean, this one here, we have vacuum lines. You know, this right here, where this is at, high heat right here, laying against this coolant line for the turbo, that is going to cause nothing but problems. It's just going to fail, along with the two down there. There's no windshield washer squirters reservoir installed, along with no wheel wells on either side of the car. The install for the horn over here on this side, quality. I don't know who did that or when that was done. Broken clips here off of our idle control. That's something that should be addressed. We have what looks like, or wires fixed here. We have wiring down here that was soldered, and this was laying over this way, probably, you know, occasionally touching. Shorten out to your throttle position control sensor reading. What else? Like, there is just a lot of stuff here that is not right. It looks like, I mean, the shifter cables actually look like they're all right. We don't know what that ground wire back there is for. It's just laying. Just, you know, everything's just done really, really incorrectly. I mean, it looks like the wastegate was down on right. I mean, somebody installed, I'm not sure what kind of gasket that is, but they put gasket sealer there. They have gasket sealer there on the O2 housing. You know, these are some of the bolts that I pulled out. It should have a new radiator cap. When you got the cracks in the rubber like that, that should be replaced. Okay, so with that being said, let's go down underneath here and check out, see what we can find down here. This thing's been sitting up on the stand overnight. I don't really see any leaks. We have there's one bolt holding this in. Alright, here's your computer. Hopefully there's not too much glare. No bolts in the bottom of the computer, no bolts holding this in. With the way this engine is, like I said, I'm trying to figure out, looks like this core support might actually be pushed up. This is actually going to need to be pushed forward because this is all dented in. I can get on the other side and show that. We have the wrong bolts here. Anything up in the front here? Like some of these are loose up here. Like these are actually the wrong bolts screwed in here. So they're not down too tight. They're too long. They're the wrong ones. What else? I'm just trying to point out everything that I'm seeing that's incorrectly put in. But like I said, this pipe here looks like it was apart and somebody had siliconed this stock pipe together. Can you spend the time and make it work? Yes. Is it worth it? No. Let's come back here. Come back in here. We can look at this side here where the intermediate shaft goes. We have an oil leak right there, or trans leak in a cross. Okay. Now, if we come here, the passenger side axle looks like it's all right. We have alternator wiring very close to the exhaust right there. That is definitely going to cause a problem in the short term. There is no cover, like the plastic cover's not on the positive side right now. If you look straight up through here, hopefully you can see that. We have an oil feed line where you can see was just starting to get hot. So that right there, laying against that exhaust, you can see it's starting to brown that line a little bit. That's bad. You don't want to highly heat your oil before it gets into your turbo. It's just going to cause caking in the line. Man. What else? It's like every time I look, you can see trans fluid there. There's always more. I find more. If you can see through there, you can actually see the yellow. The shift cable shield is down. That needs pushed up to push those shifter cables up away from the exhaust because they're nearly laying on the exhaust. It's just something that needs fixed. This thing here, I'm not sure why it's pushed up. It actually has the power steering bracket right there, the cooler bracket bent. I mean, like I said, air conditioning stuff's not plugged in. I'm sure it's probably not charged. That is really bent off of there. That's twisted and bent. I also noticed right here, these wheels do look pretty cool. Check out how this is. This side here is really close. Now, if you look, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Get some light down in behind here. You can actually see down in behind here where there's a groove worn in the wheel. I would call that install and self-clearance. Here you can see, hopefully you can see there because of this reflection, this is bent right here. Here's our bends. So this core support needs pushed forward. This is pretty normal to have these all broke out here. Not normal to have wiring all damaged like that. That was caused by something somebody installed at one time. This fender here is bolted on pretty good. Older coils, I mean, just really, just well used. This fender here, just by looking at it, it dips. This right here is rolled out. So this fender here is folded in really hard on this side. If you look at it, this fender here was replaced. It's actually a replacement fender, but you can tell it's not rolled as far. So I'm almost thinking that maybe like this car was in a front end crash at one time. I can't really tell, but something just does not look right with the front end of this. If it wasn't spray painted, it would probably not hide it as well, or the repaint on the car. Here you go, we're missing a bolt in our hood. Now, like I said, this thing has this big turbo kit on here. For this to work correctly, it's going to need, basically, the fuel system's going to need to be upgraded. Everything is stock. It's a whole stock fuel system. It is an 03, so you can reuse this rail if you so desire and you want to run the regulator over here. It should have an upgraded fuel pump, a fuel pump rewire, and upgraded fuel line, just to make it right. Do it decent. You can get away with using this stuff. It's going to need that. It's going to need a charge pipe with a blow-off valve, an air filter or a turbo guard, the correct overflow, not that one back there, along with fixing everything else in here that's just, like, I don't know, they just bent everything out of the way, whoever was installing this engine. It looks like this core support was probably pulled here to get the top of this out and lined up a little bit better. Like I said, there's something going on with this as to why this engine is sitting this high on this side. I did not sit this thing on the ground and do any measurements that way, or measure across the front end as of yet. But yeah, those are some of the things that this thing's going to need to be able to make sure that this turbo runs, along with like a tuner, an AFR gauge that's working correctly, a boost gauge that's working correctly so you can do data logs. But there's just so much more stuff that needs fixed up. I mean, this is just, that's your side marker. You need, this technically needs to be working for inspection. Now the front bumper that goes on here, they actually painted the side marker lights blue. Not right, not good. Man. So this car here is, it's just, like I said, I'm pointing out what I see wrong. Hopefully I didn't get too bad on this video. Hopefully I got something like, what is this? What else? What is this? Where does this wire go? There is a green wire here, zip tied, coming out. Where is it? Yep, there's a green wire here, zip tied, coming out along the throttle cable, and who knows where that goes. This car has got a lot of issues, a lot of issues. I mean, it even looks like it's sitting back on this side. Now, this thing still has the lower engine mount on that side, the center mount's in, which it's not over that way because of that. And I don't know if the fact that this is not down where it needs to be is what's actually also lifting this side up here over here or not. So that's just one more thing I got to get into. Like I said, the brakes, rubbing the wheels. You know, when you guys fit stuff up, you got to watch this stuff. You know, look, self-clearance. These wheels should have been ran with shims on this car. Just a lot. And then like when this fender here was put on, this stuff here, you know, there's no bolts holding into this bracket on the inside here. Man, that right there is what caused this thing to have. Yeah, it looks like something was pulled here. This was bent right there. Just this is normal stuff. You'll see. There's one bolt holding this side in. We got wire pinched behind it. Not like it's going and doing what it's supposed to do. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff done incorrectly on this car. You know, that right there, that's just impressive. I've never seen nothing like that. So, all right. See what we got to do to make this thing right. That'll be an entirely different video. I'll probably, like I said, I might add if I pull this lower apart, or it'll be included in the timing belt video or the next video on this car with some of this mess here. So, all right. What a mess. I'm up to 20 minutes. I don't know how much I'm going to edit out, but I'm up to 20 minutes. All right, well, finally got this tore apart here. I felt I would add this to the end of this video here. The balancer or the dampener actually came off pretty easy. You can see we have all kinds of cable here. Covers pretty wiped out. It's actually tucked back in there, so this should probably get pulled off and have the seal replaced, even though it's not leaking right yet. But as I had stated, this is the wrong bolt going into the center mount. And if you look up here on the back side, right there, the bolt came in and actually hit that, and you can see that this backside, the backside toward the alternator there, is up higher than this side. So what that did was it made the belt walk until it ground itself in on this bracket. Also, there is no bolt in the bracket for the alternator. And I noticed that this is in behind this bolt, and it's not supposed to be there. That looks right up there. So yeah, definitely whoever did the install on the engine put the wrong bolt in there, and yes, it damaged the timing belt. So with everything you see, basically we're going to figure out what direction we want to go with this car, what we're going to fix, what problems are going to be addressed first, and come up with a game plan and kind of go from there. So I just wanted to show in the fact that that's what actually damaged the timing belt, along with a lot of the other stuff that was, you know, this I'm sure was pre car. This right here actually looks new, like somebody cut that. And some stuff, some of this damage, including like the timing belt having to be redone, was because of improper installation and the wrong bolts going places, which if you don't know what you're doing, that can happen. So I'm sure there was an Allen head bolt in there when they took it out. How they got the wrong one, put it in afterwards, who knows. Wasn't there. We're just here to show what was done wrong, and obviously what we're going to do to fix it, and that'll be in the next video.